So I had one set of plans for the day, and then something happened. I got really triggered, and now I have to work with this. I am so triggered. I am nauseous. So angry. I'm nauseous and terrified. Um, so went for a walk up to Cheeseman Park, recorded a vlog there that I was very happy with. Walking back, and there was a four-way stop on a side street. It's not a main street. Four-way stop, pretty straightforward. To my right, there's no cars. So I start crossing the street. A, a full-size four-door Jeep Wrangler pulls out of a parking spot, doesn't stop at the stop sign, and just guns it past me and takes a left. In my naivete, I'm like, he's gonna stop, right? He can see me, unless he's looking at his watch. I guess he could have been looking at his phone. He could have been looking. Yeah, you're right. I have no idea what he's looking at, but I'm like, he can see me. I was in the intersection first. I'm gonna keep walking. But he didn't stop. So eventually I realized I have to slow down here so he doesn't hit me. And I'm pissed off. Because he's a car. If he hits me, his car's gonna be fine. I'm not. So I'm like, what the fuck? He can't hear me, but he knows exactly what I said. So he I'm just looking at him. He's turning. He's just like, I can't believe that just happened. And he sees me, like I'm obviously upset. So he slams on his brakes, opens the door, steps out, and says, "Do you have a fucking problem?" And now I go from being angry because he put my life in danger, potentially. It's a car. And now is an instant switch with his physical display of aggression to, oh, I'm gonna get myself fucking killed. So if I didn't do anything, if I just stood there and didn't react, didn't raise my arms, didn't mouth what the fuck, he would have just kept driving as if I didn't exist, as if I wasn't in that crosswalk at an intersection. So if I did nothing, he wouldn't have stopped and he wouldn't have threatened me. But I had a reaction. Maybe it's a reasonable reaction, at least if you're from the East Coast, it's reasonable. You almost run over someone in a pedestrian. That pedestrian has a right to be angry and show it. And so this caused a massive, massive trigger, which is why I'm talking about it now. Normally I don't record. There's construction on the roof during the day, and it's not the most ideal time, but I can't wait. It's been an hour and a half, 2 hours, and my nervous system is still running. Because my childhood nervous system is like, you almost got yourself killed. And I'm just trying to be like, and so I backed down. And I said, Jesus, no, sorry, put my arms down and walked away. But I am simultaneously seething with anger because he was genuinely in the wrong there, but also seething with anger towards myself because I did something that provoked a reaction in someone else. So I put myself in danger. So even though I know rationally my reaction to not being seen in a crosswalk at a four-way stop is within the realm of reasonable, you can make an argument, like a defensive driving argument, just don't make a fuss, people won't react. But then the other part of me is like, he was clearly in the wrong. So my nervous system is just jumping back and forth between what actually happened, what I could have done differently, and then, because I'm trying to teach myself, I am allowed to defend myself in whatever context that is. Not just on the street as a pedestrian, but just in life, I'm allowed to defend myself. But this is really dysregulating because my nervous system is sort of torn in half. Half of my nervous system is like, fuck that guy. He almost ran me over. And not only did he not care, when I protested, he threatened me. And this makes my child mind switch into, wait, is he right? Am I in the wrong? Am I the asshole here? Did I do something wrong? Even though rationally I know he just nearly ran me over in a crosswalk at a four-way stop. But because of his physical display of aggression that was bigger than mine, I went, what the fuck? Flipped him off, which he saw. Then he stopped, got out. So it starts this process in my brain being, did I get that? Am I wrong? Because that is exactly what happened in childhood. I would protest, I would get angry, I'd get upset, and I would be right, but then I would receive a response that was wildly, both emotionally and physically, stronger than I was, and there's no possibility of my being able to match it. So even though, as it happened, I knew I was in the right, but because of what happened to me when I displayed upsetness or anger, everything got turned on its head. The bad guys made themselves out to be good guys, and I had to become the bad guy, even though I was the innocent. So it triggers that whole loop of, rationally I know I'm allowed to defend myself. But that, God, that was rough. And I backed down, and part of me is like, I can't believe you fucking backed down. And then every other part of me is like, no, that's the right thing to do. There's no reason to escalate that beyond the point it already got to at all. There's no good outcome, whatever it is. It won't get better with any more further escalation. It just won't. So I backed down, walked away, said I'm sorry. So it feels like I just betrayed myself. I betrayed my fucking soul. So I'm like, I did nothing fucking wrong here. I was in the right. Someone else did something wrong. And I had two options, or at least only two that I'm aware of. I could have basically not reacted, just stopped where I was, let the car pass, not reacted, kept walking. That's an option. Or I could let myself have a reaction. which I did. So I think I may have gotten quite unlucky with that particular driver. So arguably we both have anger issues, just sort of in different ways. So if he had that kind of reaction to me protesting that I was in the crosswalk first, and I was unhappy with him forcing me to stop walking because he accelerated towards me, that was a very aggressive move on his part. And maybe I should have realized, and I will in the future, I'll take a second to be like, one, yeah, either I have a very hard time believing that he didn't see me. Maybe he did, but if he chose to be that aggressive with a vehicle towards a pedestrian, maybe that is the wrong person to flip off. Even if I can, it's just, given their behavior, it shows their state of mind, maybe don't flip that particular person off. And that was just one of those moments I was having today. I didn't want to be pushed around. I didn't want to be physically threatened by a fucking car when I was in a crosswalk at a four-way stop. I didn't want to meekly just back down and be like, oh sure, you go first because you have the car. I'll stop doing my thing. I didn't want to do it. And I didn't. So in one sense, I'm happy that I didn't just cower and stop and just let him do whatever he wanted to do with no consequences. So in one sense, I am happy I reacted the way I did, because I learned something about myself, and I think learned more about other people's behavior and trying to understand what just happened there. And if they're that aggressive, maybe just let them go on their way. So not a road rage incident, but actually kinda. Actually, definitely. It was just one car and one pedestrian. So, yeah, I had a whole other vlog all recorded and happy with it, and I can't post that. Maybe I will at some other point, but given what happened to me, and such a strong reaction, because that physical threat, like stopping, stepping out of the car, like he didn't leave his car, but he put his foot out, and like, if you want to fight, I'll fucking fight you. That was, yeah, that was past my threshold for tolerating triggering events. That got me. That got me really good. And the thing is, again, I've spent an hour and a half, 2 hours trying to process that emotion. And I have a lot of tools in my tool belt. Done a lot of treatment. And because I was so triggered, I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to record a video going into this, but I was able to calm down enough to be like, well, I do need to process this. And me speaking to you in the context of a recovery vlog saying, hey, I just got super triggered, that's helpful to me, super helpful to me. So I calmed down enough and be like, okay, now let's talk this out. because I have to love myself for protesting being treated badly, having my physical health, my body in danger from a huge moving object. I have a right to protest that. That's not okay. I'm not happy with that. And if you notice someone being overtly aggressive for no reason, has nothing to do with you, that's just the way they are that day in that moment, notice, I am not okay with what they just did. I'm angry, I'm upset. But if they're that aggressive, they're that in their own anger in a way that is putting other people's health and safety in danger, maybe don't antagonize that person. Maybe don't flip them off. It's not the right moment to do that. You can, but it's not the right moment to do that. And it's interesting because there's a bit of a cultural thing as well. Like, being the East Coast in big cities at least 20 years ago, people honk at each other all the time. They flip each other off. But it's a different thing. It's just part of the culture where it's sort of a zoo there, and it's bananas. Cars, bikes, scooters, pedestrians, everyone's in everyone else's business, and horns, fingers, shouting, but no one's like really angry. So that felt okay to me. What the fuck? You almost ran me over. Not like outrage, but like, dude. So that was a learning experience. And this is a perfect example of we don't recover alone. I don't recover alone. I did an hour and a half, 2 hours of calming down, coping techniques, all sorts of stuff, and it wasn't enough. I needed to share my experience. And that's what I'm doing here, and that's why in the past 2 videos, like, I say thank you at least once a video, and sometimes twice, because this isn't just for other people's benefit. This recovery vlog is for my benefit, as well as others. This is something I have to do for my own mental health and for my own recovery. So, thank you. Thank you. Just another quick thing briefly. So my partner Andrea is awesome, because I went downstairs and told her everything I just told you. And she completely agreed. Yeah, I was in the right there, obviously. The other thing is, she had someone get out of their vehicle and advance upon her, because they were speeding and nearly sideswiped her as she was trying to get out of the garage here. So, yeah, like a block from where it just happened to me. So, not just me. The other thing that she said, that it didn't occur to me, but now that she said it, makes perfect sense. She said, oh, that sounds like somebody who's just looking for a fight. And that makes perfect sense. One, acting aggressively when there's no need to. What he did with the car, accelerating towards me when I clearly had the right of way. And then when I protested, what the fuck, and flipped him off, well then, I'm like, oh, now I'm appearing as somebody who might give him a fight, the fight he's looking for. So, because clearly he wants to get in a fight with somebody, stops the car, steps out. So, do you have a fucking problem? And as soon as I backed down, which I did immediately, I was no longer somebody offering him a fight. So I wasn't interesting anymore. So he just left, and so did I. That was really helpful that she said that, because it doesn't feel personal. I don't know why it would feel personal. I was just there. But it did feel personal. And she's like, no, he was just looking for a fight. And at least for a moment, you looked like somebody who might give it to him. And the third thing was because I had all this tension in my upper back and shoulders and arm muscles because half my nervous system is like, are we fighting? Are we or aren't we? And she's like, we have a vibration board. I don't know if that's, you stand on it and it vibrates. And she's like, well, one, you could do a plank, put your hands on the vibrating plate and do a plank and it vibrates up your arms. And then also just flip over and have it so you're on your back on the vibrating plate. And that was awesome because it literally just shook out a lot of the remaining, just like, are we about to fight? Feels like we're about to fight. And just like, just sort of jiggled it right out. So she was really awesome there in like 4 different ways. So I just wanted to share that. So we do not recover alone. Yeah. Thanks, bye.